Welcome everyone to another Wednesday night, the fundamentals to gain inner peace with your host, Coach Menachem Bernfeld. And tonight is class 103, and it's week number 2 in our 10-week course. So I want to welcome everyone, those who are part of the course and those who are not. There's always what to learn. Tonight we're doing the second week, and before we start, just to reflect how the week went, where we are, how it's working. So before we start, as usual, I would like to take a moment just to come into the room. And if you're part of the course, you know what it means to be in the present moment. Now that you have done it for a week now, this moment matters. So let's do that for a minute. Take a deep breath and relax. Become aware of where you are, where you're coming from, what your day looked like. Become aware of your surroundings, where you're sitting, or maybe you're listening to the recording and driving, wherever you are, whatever it is, just becoming aware. It helps us to get back into the moment, be in the moment. Now take a deep breath and turn inwards. Turn into your body, see what your body feels like. The body tells us a lot about what's going on, just to become aware. What does my body feel? Or what do I feel? Stress, overwhelm. Anywhere in my body do I feel a little tense? Just becoming aware of it. Might be your forehead, your cheeks, your eyes, might feel tired. Your jaws, you can let it go. Take a deep breath. Your shoulders, your arms, your stomach. Just becoming aware of any feelings. Many people are not aware of the feelings, and you have to slow down. Tune in. It takes practice, but slowly and surely, you start feeling different things. Beautiful. Okay, so tonight we're doing week number 2, the second week of our course. And the question is, if you're ready, how did it go with your first week? The conscious response our first week was, this moment matters. How many times during the day were you able to connect with the moment? And how did the breathing go? I want to thank you all for those who sent email feedback. It's important to stop after a week, see what my week looked like. Even, you got to be honest, it wasn't perfect. I had a hard time breathing. I didn't do it. Whatever it was, important to be aware. And again, we're consistent, we're committed, we're doing it, even if it's not perfect, and that's fine. So if you didn't send any feedback, you can do that now. You can let me know in the chat what it looked like. Let me know in the chat what your first week looked like, how it went. Just a word or two, whatever comes up. For many people I know, it was very hard. Some people were able to do it, the breathing, for less than 50 minutes, which is okay, because we're learning. It's not always easy, and that's part of what we're learning. Some people missed, and beautiful. We're not giving up. We don't need perfection to continue. Missed a few times. For some people, it was very hard. Somebody mentioned it took them to a real dark place. It was very hard for them. And yes, sometimes that could happen. We want to stop. We don't want to continue. It's just too hard. Try to breathe for 15 minutes straight for beginners. We're all beginners in this. Somebody mentioned that his body started shaking. For others, it was positive, calm, it was calm, but it takes time. Even if you have a good day, you never know what it's going to feel like the next day. So this is just for beginners to remember it's okay, whatever it was, whatever came up, whatever it looked like, we're continuing. And remember, these are the 3 steps. We have our conscious response. And the first week was this moment matters. And in a few minutes, we'll go to conscious response, week number 2. We have twice a day, 50 minutes breathing. And if you've seen the recording, it's I am here now in this, whatever pace works for you. I am here now in this. And then we have the reading. Whether you read it all at once, or you read a little bit every day, whatever works. So are you ready for week number 2? The conscious response for week number 2 is I recognize my reflections and projections. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And you're going to read about it, become aware of it during the day. And that's what we're going to connect to when you're conscious. When you take a deep breath in the middle of the day, whether it's at work or at home, you have a moment where you're like, take a deep breath. Where am I? What am I doing? You say, I recognize my reflections and projections. And we'll see what that means. You become aware of the moment. That was week number 1. You can put that on the side. We're professionals already of coming back into the moment. And now we take it to the next step. The next step is I recognize my reflections and projections. So, as we mentioned many times, most of us are busy. And that's the number 1 reason why it's so hard for many people to sit 50 minutes to do nothing. I just breathe. I have so much to do. And it's not only that, it's much deeper, which we'll see. When you stop for 50 minutes, it's hard. And why it's hard? For everybody, it's different, right? So we're used to being in the rat race, fight and flight, always busy. Wake up in the morning, you have so much to do. You go to sleep, you didn't finish everything. The next day, the same thing. Week after week, month after month, and you're busy, It could be you're productive. I'm not saying you're not productive, but you never have time to just reflect. Where am I? What am I doing? What are my plans? Why? How do I feel? All of these feelings only come down, all of these thoughts, when you can slow down and have some time for yourself. If you can slow down and just stop. And that's what happens when you stop and breathe 50 minutes in the morning and 50 minutes in the afternoon. What happens, these things come up and the feelings are not so good. There's a reason why we're always running. So we have a blind spot to certain experiences we picked up in the past years. Like we mentioned many times, our life is put together from all the experiences that we had. I am who I am based on my experiences, and you are who you are based on your experiences. We probably didn't have the same experience. And even if we sat in the same room or 2 kids in the same family, they take it different. The experience is a different experience. And how you take it, how you process it, and all of that is who we are. Now, there are many emotions and many experiences that weren't so positive. Many times it was negative, but we're not conscious about it. We put it away. And when we do feel it, we're not always aware of what we feel. So these are these feelings that come up. You might be sitting and breathing in and out for a few minutes, and then feelings come up, and you're not even sure what it is. You don't have to know what it is. There are certain things that have to come up, and that's how we let it go. But first, we have to let it come up. So the first thing to be aware, it could be we picked it up even before we were able to talk. You're talking about little kids. 4 or 5-year-olds, it's hard for us to process different ideas that we picked up. So we call it, in the book, he calls it felt sensations. It's something that you feel. Can't explain what it is. You don't even remember the story. They're imprinted in our emotional body, and not in our logic. They're not in our heads. You're going to try to figure it out. Why do I feel this way? What's the big deal? So somebody said something. But you're trying to figure out from logic from in your mind. It's very possible that these feelings that you picked up are just in the emotional body when you were very young. So that's number one. And the second thing to be aware of, that the emotional experiences of the past are very uncomfortable. Many of them are uncomfortable, and that's why we subconsciously put them away. Suppress, it's called. We suppress those emotions. We push them away. We don't want to sit with them. And we can understand it, and it makes a lot of sense. We basically hide. So that's a felt perception. If you want to experience felt perceptions, if you started doing the breathing and sit and breathe for 50 minutes, different feelings are going to come up. And sometimes it's hard. Those are felt perceptions. These are feelings that you can't really explain, can't even talk about it. You don't even know what it is, but they're deep in the emotions. And sometimes it's called somatic. It's like in the body, locked up in our body. And we're not even aware what it is. And that's okay. Sometimes people think they go to therapy and they dig up certain emotions, which they don't want. But over here, you don't really have to dig up anything. It's not important to know the story, to know why. It's just that when you sit and breathe, these feelings come up. And what do we do with these feelings? So step number one is you just feel it. In the beginning, it's going to be very hard because you don't know what to do. What should I do about it? Just continue breathing. And I'll tell you, when I started the breathing, I had a hard time. I wasn't able to do the first 15 minutes. After 7 or 8 minutes, I just needed to move. My body, I just couldn't continue. So I did sometimes stop earlier. But eventually, I was able to tell myself, it's okay, continue breathing until I got to 50 minutes. And now it's much easier. I'm not going to say that every day it's the same. There are ups and downs, but it's easier to stay there for 50 minutes that I want to breathe. So that's the felt perception that you're going to be reading about. You're going to become aware of those feelings. And we call it many times triggers. Or, when people press their buttons, they say something or something happens, you become triggered. Okay, so while you're breathing, you're not becoming triggered, but the feelings do come up. So talk about a time when you got upset. Talk about a person in your life that you have a hard time dealing with. These triggers, sometimes they're very deep and you can't explain it. For some reason, when you talk to that person, you get nervous. You don't know why. It could be it's reminding you of something. We don't know. And there could be a lot of suppressed emotions, a lot of different feelings that you put away because it's uncomfortable. You put them away. Putting away means I don't want to think about it. It's fine. I'll take care of myself. So basically, you're not in touch with those feelings, and that's suppressing it. And what happens is it becomes a felt perception. You start feeling it, but you're not aware of it. Okay? So what do we do when we feel it? We're trying to heal these feelings. When you become more present by doing this work, by going on this journey, by doing the breathing, you become more present. By becoming more present, you're not running away. So these things come up. You start feeling those felt, uncomfortable feelings, things that you put away in the past, unconscious feelings. What we have to do is just feel it. Feel it without adding anything to it. You could say, I don't like the way this feels, and continue breathing. You feel it without placing any conditions, any experiences to it. You don't have to make sense out of it. Just continue breathing. And that's how we slowly integrate. You let those things come up and you can integrate it and let it go. The example that he gives in the book is the bottle of, if you have water and oil mixed together. So when you're running, it's like you shake it. You don't want to be aware of the oil. You don't want to be aware of it. So you're busy and you're shaking, so it's blurry. It's not clear. You don't want to look at it. So you're constantly reacting to whatever comes up. You're not aware of what comes up. You're not aware of the feelings. So you're reacting all day. We want to get to a place that we can respond, where you can slow down, become aware of the feeling, and then make a decision. To slow down, take a deep breath, and we're going to look at these two pieces. One piece is called reflection, and the other one is projection. The first thing that we feel, the first thing that comes up is a reflection. Something happens. It reminds you of something in the past. Again, you don't have to know what. You walk into a room with a person, it could remind you about your parents. You don't have to know any stories. You don't have to try to figure things out. It just gives you, like, it reminds you about a story. That's reflect. That's a reflection. After that feeling, what do we do about it? That's how we project. Projection is the behavior. The behavior we do when we react. When the memory comes, we pick up that memory. Now, what do I do about it? How do we react? The memory could be with all five senses. It could be sometimes a smell. It could be triggering. It brings up a memory. It brings up something. Again, you don't have to know what it is, but you're aware of a feeling. You're aware, it could be a noise, sometimes trauma. You hear a noise, it reminds you of something you went through, in the younger years. So again, it could be a smell, it could be a picture, it could be a person, a sound. All of this is reflection. This is something happens, it reminds us of something in the past. Okay? And the projection is, what do you do about it? Do you run away? This is, do you become angry? Those feelings are projections. Imagine you're sitting at a meeting and giving a presentation. Okay, and when you're done, your boss tells you he wasn't happy with the presentation, starts criticizing, critical. How do you feel? So that's a projection. Sorry, that's a reflection. Brings up just a story. He just didn't like it. It brings up a reflection. Now, what does it bring up? Could be when you were younger, a teacher, a parent criticized you. Again, you don't have to know exactly what it is, but it brings up, your body remembers. Your body has stored that memory. So it brings up, that story. So that's a reflection. Now, the projection could be, you might get angry. You might say something. You might be frustrated. Whatever way you react to it, that's the projection. Right? Let's say you have a hard time discussing something with your spouse. Right away, when that topic comes up, automatically it reflects something. It's reflecting something. It's reminding you of something. It brings up some memory that you don't like. And again, you don't have to know what it is. And then you might say, we can't talk about it now. That's the projection. Or you become cold, or you stop talking, whatever way you react. So that's the projection. So we become aware of our reflection and projection. This coming week, this is going to be our conscious response. We're going to become aware of those feelings that come up. You don't have to try to figure out what it is. A teenager comes to talk to you about something. Your 14-year-old wants to drive. Well, what's the reaction? What's that feeling that comes up? What does it remind you? Maybe when you were 14 or 15, your parents didn't let you, did let you, you wanted, you didn't want. Could bring up something. And now how do you react? The way you react is the projection, a reflection. First the reflection comes and then the projection. And for this, we have to slow down. Become aware, ask yourself, what am I feeling? When you walk into a room or you feel something, you're not sure what it is, just say, what am I feeling? So I'm sad, I'm upset, I'm overwhelmed, I'm mad. Okay, what did I see? What's reminding me of anything? And then you could see, how did I react till now? And eventually we get to a place where we can make choices. But for now, for this week, it's just becoming aware of the reflection and projection. So that's about it. Another thing he mentions in the book, which you'll see when you read, is that we mentioned last week. It's like sitting and watching a movie. When you're not involved, something happens. It's like a setup. When you get upset, it's like a setup. Think of a time that you were upset about something, and now think it was set up for you. Set up. Now the question is, how are you what's it gonna make you feel, and what are you gonna do about it? So you're sitting on the side, and you're just watching it happen. We're not consciously reacting the whole time. We can back up, take a deep breath, and eventually get to a place where you can respond. And for this, we have to slow down. Let the water and the oil separate. The oil is still there. Things we don't like are still there, but we can slow down and we can become aware. And then eventually, slowly, we'll get rid of some of the oil. We'll get rid of it. But if we're busy, we're running, we don't want to feel, because it's icky, we don't like the way it feels, then we're just shaking it up. It's there, it's in your body. It's there. And it's playing a role, it's making a lot of decisions you're not conscious about. What we do is we slow down, especially with the breathing that you're doing. And these feelings come up. And this week, you're going to become aware of the step number 2 is your reflection and projection. Things, how you feel, and what do I do about it? Just become aware. You don't have to change anything yet. You should become aware of it. So that's about it for this week. And again, the breathing, I know it wasn't easy for you. And it could be you didn't do it every day. But that's okay. We're not giving up. We're going to continue. We're consistent and we're committed. We're continuing. Even if in the past, when I didn't do something perfect, I would say, it's not working, it's not for me. But now we're learning new things. We're continuing, okay? You find time in the morning, you find time in the afternoon sometime. It's just interesting how you find time. Everybody's different with our busy days. And you put on the recording, whichever pace works for you. Don't overwork, because if you overwork, it's going to be too hard and you're going to give up. Take it easy, relax. You're breathing anyways. Just become conscious of your breathing in and out for 50 minutes. Personally, for me, the one with the music works better. And it's very good to do it with the recording, because I know that it's like a timer. It only goes for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, it stops. If you don't have that, then I hope you have a timer, because in the middle, you're like, how long does it take? Could it stop already? And you have all those feelings come up, which is part of our feelings. Part of those feelings that we're looking for. So congratulations on doing week 1, number 1. And you should have tzlacha on week number 2, and it's Hashem, it should work out. You should find the time, make a check in the calendar, see the progress. And now, if anybody has questions, you can put it into the chat, and we can discuss all those things that are coming up. If you're not sure how it works, just if you want, you can raise your hand and share, or you can put them in the chat, and we will talk about it. Why is it so hard to do the breathing? Great question. Great question. Now I would ask you to write down what comes up. What's the feeling that comes up? Because that's the awareness that we're looking for. Something that's, we just can't sit and relax and breathe. And again, it could be things that we can't explain, like we mentioned. It could be bottled up emotions, that when you feel that feeling, you want to know what it is. You don't have to know what it is. You let the feeling come up and be there. And to explain it is when you sit in one place and you feel you have to itch, you have to scratch your eyes, you have to itch yourself. Again, if you have to sneeze, it's okay. But if you have to itch, and you think to yourself, oh, if I can just pick up my hand and just scratch my face now, and you're breathing, and you tell yourself, it's okay, you don't have to. See how it changes. Sometimes the urge becomes so much stronger. I have to continue breathing. And then eventually it slows down. It slows down. Wow. So you become in control. You can make a decision. You don't have to react right away. And this is what happens with all other feelings that we're not conscious about. We have a feeling. We don't want to go to that place. We don't want to meet that person. This is I hate, or this. All of those feelings that come up, those are feelings. They're based on something, but we don't have to know what it is. But till now, your feeling told you what to do. But now, if you can sit and breathe through the feeling, it's okay to feel it. You don't have to do anything about it. And you continue. Then you become in control. You can start responding to these feelings. I don't want to meet that person. Why not? Okay, maybe I can talk this way. I can tell them that. Fine. Make a decision. Number one problem that most people have is I don't have time. And that's the awareness, the first awareness that people have to be aware. I am so busy. I am so busy. Right? So first of all, just by coming here tonight, that's amazing. You took some time off to be here, which is beautiful. Now the question is, you're very busy. You have to sit down with somebody to help you. What are you so busy with? And why? Now, most of us are busy with, time-consuming stuff where we're productive, we have to do. But if you can't find a few minutes a day, again, it might be a half hour a day, it might be hard. But if you can't find a few minutes a day where you can shut down, close yourself in the room, close technology, close everything. If you can't find a few minutes a day to do that, then you're probably running away from something. And if I could help you, eventually by doing the breathing and by becoming aware, you'll stop running and you'll become even more productive because you will know what you're doing. It's not like this email and that email, I have to do this, I have to do that. Wait a second, before we do anything, what's the plan for today? What do you want to accomplish today? I don't know, this one should do yesterday's list. That's it. You're constantly flying, it's overwhelmed, and there's so much to do. There's probably something that's just making sure that you're busy. And most of us are like that. Because you want to know what it is, stop for a few minutes, and you might become aware of the things you don't want to face. So here we are trying to help you just to understand it's okay. You're still okay. You can breathe through it. become aware of the things you don't want to face, write them down. You become aware of the, areas in your life that are not working out, that you're running away from, that you don't want to think about. It's okay. You can look at it and you're not getting scared. So again, it's work, a lot of work, but we're committed and we're here. We're doing it. So keep it up. Keep on doing the breathing. And you can let me know what comes up. Send me feedback, coachmenachem@gmail.com. Any questions that come up, feel free to send your questions. And if you didn't send your feedback for week number 1, please send it in. Just let me know a line or two, how it went, what your experience was, and whatever it is. It's fine. We accept you the way you are. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy the week, and hopefully it works out. And next week will be the 3rd week of our course. Have a good night and a good week.